Today, I'm gonna try and answer the question of, should you buy a modified S2000 in 2026? This is my 2004 AP2 S2000, and well, let's just say it's a little fast. It's been turboed for approximately 4,000 to 5,000 miles, and it's been a great car. It's been an awesome car. Now, the S2000 is getting quite expensive for a clean example nowadays. They're getting pretty hard to find. A clean example can range anywhere from, I don't know, $20,000 to about $45,000, depending on how clean it is. This one is 100% not clean at all. As you can see, there's the convertible top is basically missing the entire glass, which is a common theme on these aftermarket Robin soft tops. So if you are looking to buy an S2000 and it's got one of these soft tops, make sure you're within the warranty time to get the glass replaced, because it will fall out. So you've got like the basic mods, right? You have an intake, exhaust, maybe a header. Those mods tend to be okay because they don't really affect the dynamics of how the F20 or F22C operate. You might eke out, 5 horsepower from them, but more so than anything, you're just gonna get a bunch of noise. Those don't really matter. Coilovers, the lights, the aesthetics, and all that stuff, that's really solely depending on you. They make plenty of good coilover kits for these cars. I'm running on Fortunato 500s, I believe, and I swear the car rides softer than stock. It feels pretty good. Can get a little bouncy at higher speeds, but so did the stock suspension as well. The car is obviously not meant to have double the horsepower. This video is really for people looking at buying maybe a supercharged or turbocharged or engine swapped S2000. Engine swap I can't really speak on because, well, it all depends on the engine and who installed it. But for turbo and supercharger applications, I gotcha. So some of the key things to look out for when buying just an S2000 in general, whether it's modified or not. If it's an AP1, I know the valve retainers have a tendency of cracking over time. It's not a bad idea to go ahead and swap those out. It's not a hard job to do at all. It might take you about an hour to do for your first time, but once you do it, you're golden. As everyone knows, the differentials in these things are basically glass, as they call it. Now, I've been lucky enough in this one to not have very many issues with it. I can definitely hear some clicking and stuff from the axles. They're getting pretty tired. That's going to come with the territory when you're doubling the horsepower of any car. Other things to maybe keep into consideration, again, with the AP1 earlier models, their transmissions have, I believe, a different material synchro that tend to wear out a little bit quicker than the AP2. They also are missing something that the AP2, I believe, incorporated, which is a clutch delay valve, which helps essentially save your drive line. It helps essentially slip the clutch a little bit more to prevent shocking the transmission or differential. I believe the early AP1s did not have that, and that's why people were blowing up differentials and transmissions left and right. This car still has it, and maybe it's not the best for performance sake, but for everyday driving and reliability, I can't imagine why you would get rid of it. So the biggest concern in particular with turbo setup is going to be heat management. There is a lot of heat underneath that engine bay, and you will melt stuff if you don't take care. As you can see, my downpipe is completely wrapped in that fiberglass titanium wrap stuff, and it is an absolute necessity. I do have a turbo blanket that I've been meaning to put on. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. At the very beginning of it, I didn't wrap anything up, and I ended up melting a good chunk of the fuse box down there. It's probably going to be a little hard to see. As far as performance goes, guys, 525 horsepower in a car that's this light is actually pretty scary. I haven't really had very many races. I definitely don't have any races on camera, but I would say it's definitely faster than a lot of the modern day V8s. I believe probably a good race for this car would be maybe like a Hellcat or maybe a Corvette of some sort in stock form. I think that this car would definitely hold its own against both of those. There isn't very many cars on the street that are going to be faster than this. It is pretty rowdy. Definitely not a Canyon carburetor anymore. I mean, the turbo takes forever to spool up. I mean, I'm going to try and do a 4th gear pull. It didn't even start spooling to like 5,500 RPM, which is okay because the car does rev out to almost 9,000 RPM. I would say a good price range to have when looking for a modified version of this car. Expect to spend anywhere around probably $20,000 to $25,000 for a decent example. $20,000 to $25,000 can probably get you this exact setup here. Now it becomes a question of what else could you buy for that kind of money that would have similar performance, and I honestly can't think of much. Oh, sorry about that, guys. You guys all right? The stock motors in these can handle quite a bit of power. So if there's a stock motor pushing a bunch of horsepower, don't be afraid of it. These cars can definitely hold 500 horsepower, wheel horsepower, no problem to the crank, assuming you get a good tune. That's the biggest thing. That was the reason why my stock motor let go. The tune was just garbage. If you're wondering for the range of $20,000 to $25,000, you could maybe pick up a higher mileage Camaro, modern Camaro, maybe, you know, Mustang, or an older like BMW 335 maybe. In my opinion, the S2000 is a very fun platform to modify, and if you have good driving skills and you're comfortable driving a car that basically wants to kill you 24/7, then I would argue that there's nothing really like it in that price range at all, unless you make something like, I don't know, maybe a Miata with an engine swap or something like that. I will say, having this car has been a blast, but it also has induced a lot of stress on me. I am always constantly worried about something breaking because, unfortunately, this car is not cheap to maintain anymore. I'm gonna give you guys a quick walk around. We've got 147,879 miles on it, and this is what she's looking like. So she's nothing special. Again, this is a 2004. She's not the cleanest, that's for sure. Definitely needs a paint job. Maybe the headlights need to be cleaned up. You know, sometimes I look at this car and I still can't believe that I even own it. Got the depot tails on it. Let me pop the hood for you. So this was all built by myself, which is pretty cool. I can say that I built my S2000. Not a lot of people can say that. Like if I were to post this one up, the exact current condition that it's in, the leaking soft top and all, I would guess I'd get somewhere in the range of $15,000 to $20,000 in the high end. Again, it's a fully built motor and everything, and I've put probably about as much as I paid for the car into the car. For me, it would be a silly thing. I would lose my butt probably, or I would probably lose a couple grand. I mean, in all things considered, which I've had my fun with this car. I've enjoyed it. I don't plan on selling it. I only want to go from here, but the problem that I'm running into, and you'll likely run into as well if you buy one that's kind of modified like this one, where you got a built engine and turbo and all that stuff, but the stock drivetrain, you're going to run into the issue eventually of being bottlenecked by the rear end and the transmission. And unfortunately, the next step for me to upgrade is going to cost probably about $10,000 to do, because there is no real just direct swap transmission for these cars. You need a kit of some sort for a CD009. The BMW dual clutch transmissions are becoming a very popular option as well, but of course there's some modifications you need to make that work as well. So, and then the differential's the same story. A kit for, you know, you can go with a putty mod diff, which is basically a stock differential just modified to hold the power, but again, those, as to my knowledge, are not really, I have never heard of anyone running those that's making big power. Everyone normally just bites the bullet and goes straight for the Ford 8.8 rear end, because those are, I mean, they're tried and true. You know, if you're in the price range of something like this, where we'll say on the high end, and this might be a little bit wishful thinking, but we'll say $20,000. Here, you know, what are some options that $20,000 can get you? Right, keep in mind, this is a 2,900 pound car making 525 horsepower to the wheels, and I still believe relatively reliably I could drive this thing out of town anywhere pretty much I would want and not really have any issues. If you're willing to do the work yourself, especially, I think this would be a great car. But for 20 grand, in that range of $20,000, you've got maybe an older BMW 3 Series, maybe an M3 if it's earlier, but that's not going to have anywhere near as much horsepower as this one. And if you buy one of those modified, well, we're already reaching the $30,000 territory probably. You've got Miatas, you can buy those still brand new, well over the $20,000 price range, but they come with a warranty and they're going to be very reliable as well. You've got the classic American cars. You could probably get a Camaro or a Mustang and have a similar wheel horsepower, but it's not going to be as fast. I just said it. It's not going to be as fast. A $20,000 Camaro is not going to be as fast as a modified turbo S2000. I mean, I said what I said. Camaros, feel free to run it up. So really, there isn't very many options for this price range. So I personally would do it all again. I did everything to this car. I put the turbo on it. I assembled the engine and everything. And honestly, I learned more about this car than most people will ever know about. It's still one of my favorite cars, one of my obtainable dream cars, and I will probably hold on to it for a very long time. Eventually, if the channel takes off, we'll be turned into either a drag car, or it might just stay the way it is. I mean, I could probably daily this car, drive it every single day and have no problems. I mean, I haven't had an issue, you know, knock on wood, I haven't had any issues with the car ever since I got it retuned by Mace Engineering. The car has been spectacular. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think about my car. If there's something you would do to it that would make it better. Again, I do all the work myself. I'm only one guy, and I do work a full-time job. Anyways, if there's anything that you guys want to see me do to the car that's attainable, something that I can manage, then leave a comment down below. I want to make more videos on it because the S2000, everyone likes the S2000. The S2000, oh, I'm zooming in. The S2000 is such a unique car. People know it, or people who don't know it think it's pretty cool, and I mean, it sounds amazing too. I mean, I'm sure you heard. So that's why I think it's for about $20,000. It's not a bad pick. Again, it all really just depends on who you bought it from and if they took care of it or if they built it correctly or not. What do you guys think? For around $20,000, you think this was a good buy? If you don't think it was a good buy, what would you get instead that would have similar performance, similar wow factor to this? I can't really even think of anything to this degree because it's still refined. It still feels like an S2000. You just start it up and go every time. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for this one. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.